Geneva, Wisconsin at Bigfoot Beach State Park. I'm actually here on the suggestion of a viewer today, and my initial reaction was, honestly, why am I going to want to go to a lake to see a bunch of wealthy fibs vacation houses? In case you're not from the Midwest, a fib is a effing Illinois bastard. But the more I did a little research on this particular lake, the history of who has lived here and who has visited here is really kind of interesting. So I thought, let's give it a go. Let's learn a little bit more about Geneva Lake in Lake Geneva and check it out. Everything I read online about parking in Lake Geneva sounds like it's going to cost you everywhere you go. It's going to be $2 an hour, which is not a huge hardship, but they have a limit of so many hours that you can be in a particular spot, and I might want to paddle for a little bit longer than that amount of time. So I saw that there was a state park right on Geneva Lake. I've already got a park sticker, so that works out perfect, right? There's not a boat launch here, but there is a beach. Parking is way, way, way over there. There's an unloading zone right over there by the bathrooms and the worm vending machine, and I'm gonna have to hoof it and pick up my boat and cross the road to get to the beach. They don't make it really convenient, but rather than paying for parking and launch fees, I thought I'd give this a try.
I wasn't even scared of it.
It's not very much of a beach. The city of Lake Geneva was named after Geneva, New York, where the founders hailed from. They added a lake to the name Geneva due to the close proximity of Geneva, Illinois, which is only about an hour and a half away. The lake is actually called Geneva Lake. The city is called Lake Geneva. Lake Geneva has been called the Hamptons of the Midwest or Newport of the Midwest. Now, I grew up my entire life being aware of Lake Geneva, but I've honestly never heard anybody refer to it as that. It's the 23rd of September, but I see that tourist season still looks like it's in full force. I'm a little bit curious what it costs to rent a boat slip in Lake Geneva. Launch fees on Lake Geneva range anywhere from $8 to a non-trailered, non-powered vessel like my kayak, up to about $26, and it's based on whether you are a resident of Lake Geneva and the length of your boat, which seems kind of high by Wisconsin standards, but just after being in Lake Tahoe, that seems like a drop in the bucket. See that? It's actually the mailbox. So apparently they actually deliver mail here to these residences by boat. Geneva Lake is a 10,000-year-old glacial lake, which the Native Americans refer to as Kishwaukee. I'm probably butchering that pronunciation, but it means clear water. The Potawatomi were evicted from this area in 1836 after a questionable land deal. They were removed and relocated to Kansas after the Black Hawk War. After the Civil War, Lake Geneva became the resort area of choice for a lot of the wealthy Chicago families. Due to its close proximity, a lot of notable Chicagoans have spent time here or own properties here. Among them, the Schwinns, the Wrigley Estate is here on Geneva Lake. Generals Sherman and Sheridan married Father Lincoln. After the Chicago fire in 1871, a lot of Chicagoans, after losing their homes, started building their vacation homes up here on the lake. said to spend time up in the Geneva Lake area as well. The Wrigley estate is not actually one home, but it's a collection of 6 estates. When P.K. Wrigley died in 1977, he was the wealthiest guy around here by far. He owned the Wrigley's Big Gum, obviously, the Wrigley Building, the Chicago Cubs, a bunch of land in Phoenix, pretty much owned Catalina Island. I had a pretty strong inkling before I even drove here that Geneva Lake would not be very paddler friendly, since it's really just kind of a recreation resort, vacation home lake, with a lot of people with a lot of really big boats. So I'd have to say I'm enjoying looking at the big houses, but it's really not that enjoyable of a paddle, to be honest. I find I'm having to be hyper aware of all of the power boats around me. Sure haven't seen another kayaker. I'm at probably the narrowest point. Lake Geneva is kind of a, well, I don't know if you can see this shape, but Lake Geneva is kind of this long, skinny lake, and I'm at the narrowest point where on the map it looks like a pretty easy cut across to the other side, but there's just such a ridiculous amount of boat traffic that I'm not even going to try it. That would just be stupid. So I'm going to play it safe and stick to the shore. Expensive single-family home in the state of Wisconsin that's ever been sold is here on Geneva Lake. That sold a year or two ago for $36 million. I don't know which one it is, and I don't know if I care. I don't know where it is in the lake. I don't know if I'd be able to paddle to it, but I just don't have that big of a lust to drool after these palatial homes. I mean, they're pretty. It's kind of cool and all, but I don't need to go seeking out which house is which gazillionaire's house here on the lake. Much to my surprise, I found a little corner that looks rather natural. It's a very suspicious amount of feathers in that one spot. I suspect foul play. Looks like someone lost their floaty and a real nice water bottle. I don't think I'm going to be able to reach any of that to clean up the lake. Able to get some trash out of the lake. I got both the bottle and inner tube thingy. I don't want this thing to blow back in the lake, so here's what I'm going to try to do. Mission accomplished. Sometimes I do good deeds. Other times, I go in with good intentions and I half-ass it, and I do half a good deed. I'm so full of duckweed. Moving on. So after spending some time out here, boat traffic definitely died down in the very late afternoon. And I'm back to that really narrow part in the lake again, so I am going to head into the big water. I love this chop, but it's not very far. Holding up for a boat that might not see me. Safe on the other side of the lake. making that decision and looking both ways absolutely constantly, because I have a feeling a lot of the boaters here just aren't used to seeing paddlers. I will remain safely here in the no-wake zone for the duration of the paddle. I'm just going to go back, circle around to where I launched. They said the houses are palatial. They're not kidding me. Pretty sure that tiny little abode is one of the historical residences I read about. Looks rather stately. So the people you see walking along the lakeshore are not the property owners. There's actually a walking path all the way around the lake that if you walked all of it, it would be 26 miles. A real lot of boats just kind of hugging that. Oh god, here comes another one. When you create a huge wake as you're hugging the buoys, your wake does not know it's supposed to stop when it gets to the buoys. And it's a heron. My expectations to see wildlife on this lake were absolutely zero, so I was actually kind of surprised to see that heron. It's got to be the fanciest ass Bible camp I've ever seen. Admittedly, I haven't really seen very many Bible camps. It's windy. The west side of the lake, I was hoping to get a little bit of relief from that wind, but it's just kind of relentless. More of the downtowny area of Lake Geneva, where all the hotels and resorts are. It's just still a little bit north of the state park where I launched. Seems as though there's some festivities in the park this evening. Ah, it smells like pizza. Nope, that's public. Well, that's the end of that. It's not a river. Pizza behind. I thought it smelled like Chicago. I may have to pay a visit to them when I get off the water, which will be pretty soon. I don't know what this place is, but the satellite image of this building shows me that there is a swimming pool on the roof. It's about 20 after 6, and now that a lot of people are off the water and the wind has calmed down, I'm enjoying this so much more. I've intentionally been avoiding experiencing Geneva Lake until after Labor Day. It's a beautiful sunset on Lake Geneva. So when I first launched here at the state park and I hit the south shore of this side of the lake, I gotta admit I was actually kind of bored a little bit for the first 4 miles or so. I didn't love that it got so choppy out there, but once I was on the north shore on this side of the lake, it got a little bit more interesting. I got just about 11 miles in today It's almost 7 o'clock. I'm really pretty darn hungry, so I need to go feed myself and prepare myself for tomorrow's adventure. Thanks for coming with me to Lake Geneva. Stay tuned because I've got more adventures planned. My season is not over yet. So if you haven't already, please subscribe so you don't miss any of those adventures, and we'll see you next time.